Welcome back to Dash for Adventure. We are going to take our adventure out into the woods today and go visit an old town that disappeared. So we're spending a few days in the great Smoky Mountain National Park, and this is another one of those towns that disappeared slowly. When they designated the park, they bought properties from certain communities that were here and gave them lifetime leases. And as people moved off and passed away, their lands and their communities became part of the national park. And some of these are still representative of the time long gone. And they keep them and preserve them so that you can see what life was like out here in the great Smoky Mountain National Park. We're going to visit one of those towns in just a moment, so stick with us. This is absolutely majestic. Check it out. Come on, little horse. Get us where we're going.
Whoop, whoop. Oh, gorgeous.
Wow.
Are you having fun on this adventure, honey?
I am having a blast. Woo! So we're going to Elkmont. It's a community of vacation homes from the early 1900s. The Wonderland Hotel. So Paul and I were lucky enough that back in 2003 we came here and parts of it was still here. What's interesting is if you look at the old photos like this, you'd go up this staircase, and then right up the top of the staircase, or what you thought would be the top, was the Wonderland Hotel. And then you'd take a left and you'd go further up, and there was a resort up there, like a dance hall, like a community member place. Let's go take a look at the stairwell. And nature has just about reclaimed it. But look at this beautiful rock work. And this was the grand entrance to the Wonderland Hotel. And when we first came here, there were still foundation pieces and even parts of the building you could walk into. Not the Wonderland Hotel itself, but the resort building back to the left. And they've removed all of that for the safety of guests and visitors. This place has been gone for so long. There are massive trees that are growing right here where the hotel used to be. Those trees, massive. And then there's a road back here. And we walked up this road the first time we came here, and there were several old vacation houses back here. And this used to be the road that would bring you to it. There's another Forest Service road down there, but
The sign got burnt.
yeah, there was a sign there, and that's burnt. They probably did a controlled burn up here and just let that go.
That goes to the old cemetery.
That goes to the old cemetery, right? I keep walking through spider webs. Obviously, nobody's walked up here today.
You want me to go first?
No. I just want to see if... I know we've already been up here to confirm that some of these buildings were gone. Look over here to the left, you'll see an old fireplace. They did tear them down, didn't they?
That's been 10 years.
10 or 20.
10 or 20 years ago.
Look at that. You can see a foundation right there. Or a fireplace right there.
Oh boy.
You have some beautiful pictures of some moss growing on the roof of one of these old houses that were up here.
I do.
Wow. It's almost sad to see that these houses are completely gone. We're standing at one of the build sites here, and you can tell why. Look at that. There's the road. You can see that van going by right there, and then the creek right there. Beautiful view. You can feel this cold wind coming off of that creek coming up the side of this mountain, this little ridge. Wow. I am happy that we got to see these houses before they tore them down. You can see the rubble of the house that once stood right here. And this was, like I said, like one of maybe 6 to 9 houses that were here.
It's a parking place.
Yeah, and that was the garage down there. Come up the road and pull in there. And boy, it was rough looking too.
This was the neighbor's house.
And then the neighbor's house right here, right? And both of them had porches that went out over the ridge right here, and you could have beautiful views. You can see foundation blocks over there, right there and right there. And the deck was way up in the air, higher than this actually. It was probably above the foundation, and the deck went way out. Had a gorgeous view. And they're letting it all return to nature. And I understand. It's for safety reasons. And it is a national park, so they want it to return back to nature. But look at these steps right here. This was the back of that house. And look at the steps. Beautiful, perfect steps that just wind down. And they continue going. And look, they continue to wind down right there, and they go all the way down to the road. Look where this tree fell, and then there's another foundation just past it.
There's another one past that.
But I was coming over to show Paula something else. Let's see if we can find it. I thought that was one of those white flowers in the tree she's been trying to figure out all day, but it's not. That's actually just another dogwood. I was hoping we could find one we could see up close. Maybe next time. This is so beautiful here. No wonder it was a resort area. Yeah, it was the back of the house. It was sitting right here, but let's go down these steps.
And the wall.
Because it was right here. It was like right here, the back of the house came down, and it was just easily accessed.
Right.
But it was moss growing on it because it was so old and wet and humid. But these steps were here. They're still here. It's beautiful. So we're coming in now on the what would have been the right side of the Wonderland Hotel as we walk back towards the steps to go back down to the Bronco. And there's that big tree.
Is that trees or is that the wall?
I think those are trees that have moss on them, yeah. Some trees just look spooky.
Talk.
If a tree could talk, right? And there's the backside of those steps I showed a few moments ago. And those probably took you into the Wonderland Hotel. And then there's the fireplace right there of the big white building that we went in years ago. It's now gone. So we're going to go back down the steps.
There's a swing frame.
Look at that tree.
Look at the swing frame. This is a mountain laurel, honey. This is not a tree. It has grown that
I know,
way.
look at that. There is it's a frame for a swing or a sign.
I'm thinking a swing. It looks.
Yeah, it looks
I
like
thought
it.
sign first, but
Yeah, it looks like it would be for a little swing. The little cedar swings that the Amish built
I
now.
wonder if a creepy little girl's gonna come out of that one.
A well in the woods. What could go wrong? Produced by AMC at 11 tonight.
There used to be a sign here with a picture of the whole village.
Yeah, there was. I remember that. And you can see how this is all kind of broken up and misplaced as the earth shifts. And
That way or this way?
let's go down the steps. We could go that way, but we'll do the steps. All right, we're back to the road. There's the Bronco. Let's see what else we can find and check it out.
Unless they rent cabins.
They might rent cabins, I don't know.
I don't know if they do.
Ooh, there's a pipe. Go, go, little horsey, go. And that was where we were at on top of that hill a few moments ago. What makes Elkmont so interesting is, while they tore down the vacation homes and the Wonderland Resort and all of that, they left parts of it and actually maintained parts of it down here. So now, modern day, they've got a campground here and they've got nature trails and paved roads, so you can come and enjoy all the beautiful things that all those vacationers from years ago came here to see. This was called Daisy Town. It was right next to that Elkmont Ridge area that we were at. And there's a nature trail, actually several nature trails here. There's a little creek. How cute. And these cabins are still standing.
I think the park refurbished these so that you get an idea of what it was like back in the day.
I think you're right. Let's go see. What does this remind you of?
Dirty Dancing. That whole little vacation thing at Dirty Dancing. The
This-
cabins and stuff.
This reminds you of Dirty Dancing. I can see that.
Oh, this was multiples.
Right? So these were vacation homes before they had timeshare.
Wow. This was a room by itself.
With exterior door access?
Yep. They had electricity.
Yep, they did. It was that electricity that two wires would run across the ceiling and down to the switch. Yeah. Aluminum wiring or something. It was ancient.
The workers' cabin, maybe? 'Cause
I don't think so. I think this was the way it was.
really?
Yeah, I think they've settled over the years, so they're.
They just built onto it or something? 'Cause there's the toilet with a light in it.
Look at the walls. No insulation.
Oh, they covered it up. Look.
What?
They built a wall around it so you couldn't use it or do anything.
The toilet?
Yeah. Look.
Oh yeah, so they built a wall around this to show
The
you what
tub was
the
right here.
the
That way.
bathroom was like. Yeah.
Yeah, the tub was standing is right where you were.
And they just built this
So you could
wall
see
around
it.
so you could see what it looked like.
Yeah,
So this
okay.
was probably 1930s.
That plaque over there may give you
We'll have to check that. Yeah.
some information.
Look at that.
I want to sink like this.
That is quality right there. That's Sears and Roebuck catalog delivery. And you want to sink like this
For the outdoor kitchen.
for the outdoor kitchen? That'd be great. And then look at this. This would be like a sunroom. I mean, you can get lost in here. There's another bathroom. And this was Daisy Town. We'll have to find out more about this. So let's find out some history about this place. We are not historians. We just know how to read plaques,
Yep. We're here
right? I think we've seen these
in this
before
this up here.
2017. So
Right.
this would be the Higdon cabin. And look
Which
at the
one is
shape of that. And then now here's what it looks like after restoration.
down there.
And that's down there. You can see that blue one right there.
And then this was the Smith cabin in
The Smith.
2017.
Look how rough that was.
Right, and then this is what it is. Now, where's this one? I don't see this one. It must be further down.
Let me see. Hold on. Is it? It looks like it may be that one right there. We'll walk by that and see. And then
The Addicts cabin. Which it's going to be down that way as well.
which is now white.
Uh-huh.
Cool.
We'll find.
So this is Daisy Town. The National Park Service is restoring these and keeping them active so that we can see what it was like for the people that lived here.
I'll tell you something about Elkmont. It's a magical place. When I come up here, I feel close to God. I love this place. My favorite place in the world to be.
Eddie Tipton, Elkmont resident.
Look, here's pictures from the old days. Wow. And it says, as you look down the road lined with cottages, imagine a time 100 years ago when visitors arrived by rail, seeking refuge from the pollution and sweltering heat of the city. This summer resort community offered a temporary escape, day-to-day routines and responsibilities. Families played outdoor sports, socialized at the clubhouse, or relaxed on their porches.
And look at that. You can see the people in this old representation there of what it must have been like with this old, looks like an old Model T maybe. Wow. So 100 years ago. So yeah, this would have been in the 1920s.
Not 30.
Wouldn't have been the 1930s. It would have been the early 1900s. Look at that. Wow.
I just want to see the kitchen.
Look at this.
Wow, look at the holes. I guess there was windows up there.
Right?
That was a water heater back in the day.
Yep.
Oh God, I'm old. Never mind.
Be careful what you confess to, my lovely woman.
Exactly.
Yep.
Ooh, look at that cabin back there. Look at the little step. Here's the one, the white one, right down here.
Yep. In a way, this reminds me of Jackson Island, Alabama, where Big Fish was filmed. But these are real houses where Jackson Island are just facades for a filming location. Look at that.
That's one of the ones that was refurbished.
Yep.
Looks like that log cabin down there has been refurbished too.
It has.
Working on it.
Yep, they're working on it. You can see the tar paper on the roof.
On the porch.
Yep,
See?
this is that one. I don't remember the name of it, but it had the these panels on the front of the house on the porch. There was the blue panels and then the maroon panels there. And here's the Appalachian Clubhouse. Check this place out. Look at this. It was built as the centerpiece of Daisy Town to serve the wealthy vacationers from Knoxville. Quite a social place. Look at that photo. And still today, events are going on here. Beautiful woodwork. Absolutely gorgeous place. So they built this in 1910 to provide social gathering for the people that lived here. And according to that plaque, this whole area sprung up in the 1880s from the logging industry that came here and set up, and then it became a vacation place with the Wonderland Hotel and thrived until the 1930s. So there was a bridge, but was it coming off the front of it? It might have been a balcony or a deck. It's been redone over the years, so. Wow. So imagine in the 1930s just walking down this street, going to see your friends. Yeah, or the sidewalk, right. To to go see your friends.
We didn't go in that way.
What game would you have played? Dominoes. Maybe they were going to see their friends to play dominoes.
That porch intrigues me.
The one on the back of that house right there.
Mm-hmm.
So the houses that we saw up there in the woods, they were the same type of house. They were built the same way. The floors were not even. The windows were old. And you can tell by looking at the glass in the windows that these are early.
They came in and shored these up with concrete blocks.
Yep. But you can see the roughness to the glass. So this was like the early method of forming glass out of sand. We still do that today, but we use much more precise mechanisms to make glass and make it smooth. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us today on our little trip to Elkmont and Daisy Town. I always thought it was just called Elkmont.
I thought it was too.
But they said this was Daisy Town. So thank you guys for joining us on this little adventure. We hope you guys are getting out and having adventures of your own, and we hope to see you in the comments.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.